Hey, this is Beckett Haight. I just wanted to talk real quick about being an NBCT. At first, I couldn't be a National Board Certified Teacher, exceptional needs, because I didn't have enough years in the game. Then I was working on my master's for the next few years. I was gonna give you a number, but I'll just say a few years of part-time master's, full-time special educator. And so I wasn't thinking about doing the NBCT during that time because it was just a little bit hectic. But finally I reached a point in about 2015, 2016, I think summer 2015, where I was ready to embark on the whole NBCT process. So I printed out all the standards, I started annotating, and sorry I printed out the standards, I just had to do it. That's my best mode of, learning some material. So I printed them out, annotated, and got a study plan. Then I submitted component 2 and 3 in May of 2016, followed in June when I took the component 1 test out there in LA. I just mentioned that because I got lost and I had to find this little building in a business park. But then the next spring, I finally finished with component 4, and I submitted everything to NBPTS, and I had the long wait, the 6, 7, 8 month wait till December. So after having the NBCT on my mind for a lot of years, the question is, was it worth it? So back in the summer of 2015, when I started the process, I was living in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, working at an international school. And international schools don't do any, they don't pay for your training, they don't give you pay bumps for being a National Board Certified Teacher or anything like that. So at the time, it was out of pocket. And so from a money perspective, it wasn't worth it getting NBCT at the time. But in the US, there's a lot of perks. They got different pay scales, they got stipends. A lot of districts, they'll pay for you to get the training and to do the recertification. And now that I'm back in the US after 10 years, it's looking cool. I'm working at a district where they have a separate pay scale for National Board Certified Teachers. So, it's starting to come to fruition a little bit on that aspect. At the end of the day, it's just really nice that the different school districts value us and kind of what they appreciate what we've done and what it means for us as professionals. So, that's a really cool aspect. But that's not why I did it, because I was already 5 years into teaching international, and then I didn't know when I was going to leave. I thought maybe I'd do it forever. So at the time, kind of the main push for me, not from an economical standpoint, was more, I just wanted to see if I was a good teacher. I felt like every year I was getting better and better, and I was getting good evaluations. I worked with a lot of different co-teachers and people, different professionals, and I got a lot of good feedback. So I was like, hey, let's do the National Board Certification and see what's up. Because it's great to get that outside perspective. And I guess partly also I heard that the pass rate was so low for getting the National Board Certification on your first time that I wanted to see what's up, and the challenge was accepted. So one of the ways that I think that it's kind of helped me out professionally is with the virtual PLNs, the professional learning networks. I do a lot of Twitter chats, or I have over the years. And, I'm on the CEC forum, commenting on blogs and YouTube videos and stuff like that. And, I'm just trying to connect and build that network. And I think a lot of people, either if they know you're NBCT or if they find out through, what you guys are dialoguing about, a lot of times that opens up like sidebar conversations, or people are sliding into your DMs like, hey, what's up? I've joined Facebook groups because of that type of stuff. And, yeah, I think it's cool. There's so many possibilities. It's kind of like Minesweeper. One thing, I get one message, and then that opens up a whole possibility for something else. So I like that aspect. And as I said, I was in Ethiopia when I got the national board situation, and I couldn't join any networks or anything like that. And then I was in Bali last year until COVID came up. And so I couldn't do anything really with the networking side of the national board. But now that I'm back with the district, I'm really looking forward to doing, like mentoring new teachers, There's going to be an MOC group that's going to meet with people like me that are recertifying, so I can kind of network with my peers and get to know people and kind of bounce ideas and see what they're doing. I think another thing is one day I want to grade the national board tests. I tried to do it this past year, but with COVID, I guess they didn't. Well, they must have graded them. I don't know. I don't know who graded them, but they weren't taking applications for graders, so I don't know what happened. But yeah, and what else? I mean, there's just all types of different things that I'm looking forward to now that I'm back in the States and I can join up with the California networks and the district networks and all that. Another thing is that this summer I was able to join this conference, kind of digital conference. I guess maybe normally it would be a regular conference, but with COVID and all that. And it was called the Accomplished Teachers of California or something, or the Accomplished NBPTS. And basically, because I'm on a mailing list with NBPTS, I was able to get on the radar of somebody at Stanford who was set up this conference. And it was really cool. You know, we met people from districts, from the state of California, the CDE, the California Department of Education. And there's a lot of different groups and breakout sessions, and I met some cool people, and I really got inspired with a lot of ideas. Like, for example, one thing they're talking about is advocacy, and they had people from the state and a county office talking about what we can do as special educators to advocate for our programs and for our kids. And I really got inspired. You know, I'm not much of like a community organizer or anything like that, but it just seemed like there's a lot of things we can do, and it kind of gave me some, I don't know, the impetus, or gave me kind of the framework. Another thing is people see the NBCT status as kind of high level, or is sort of distinguished in some circles. For example, this summer I was with my friend, and her neighbor came over, and her neighbor is a PE teacher, and we were kind of talking shop for a while, as we do, you know, at happy hours and at lunch breaks and stuff like that. And we got it. Somehow I mentioned that I was a national board certified teacher. I was kind of talking about bureaucracies and kind of getting into the weeds of some stuff at the district level. But I mentioned my status, and then my friend who's not a teacher, she asked, you know, what's going on? Like, what? I've never heard of that. And I tried to explain it, and I was using that analogy of like a board certified surgeon, and I was trying to say, you know, how you reach this level and then you do this and da-da-da-da. And I wasn't really explaining it well. But my friend's neighbor, the PE teacher, she jumped in and she was like, oh man, these people, they have to work really hard and it's really hard to get, and you know, it's da-da-da-da-da. And it made me feel really good. And I think my friend started to kind of look at me a little different, at least at that moment. She was just like, oh, wow, cool. I didn't know you were doing all that. And yeah, I don't know. I guess it's cool to get that a little bit of extra esteem, because, you know, as educators in the United States in particular, we don't always get a lot of love. That's just how it is. You know, it's for a number of reasons. But yeah, I mean, I'll just take what I can get. You know, if I can be in my friend's backyard and get a little extra bump, you know, with the self-esteem because of the NBC status, I'm going to take it. So at the end of the day, I can't say that I got a job specifically because of the NBCT. I can't say I was invited to speak at a conference or a keynote or be on a panel or be on a podcast or something like that just because I am a national board certified teacher. But I just feel that there's so many possibilities. You know, it's like, I don't want to sound cliched, but it's kind of like that butterfly effect, you know? It's like, okay, you meet this person, they're like, oh, hey, I want to do that, but I'm also doing this. And then I'm like, oh, I wanted to do that. Let me get your email. And, you know, like, just, next thing you know, you're in the Philippines at a conference. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just like really open to all the different possibilities of where things are going to go in the future because of the work I put in and kind of how people see it. But overall, I just like the idea that I have the possibility to affect more change because of the NBCT status. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's kind of abstract, but just the idea that I can help more people, help more kids, help more programs because of this is really cool. And I'm just hoping that, you know, I'm going to keep on moving and I won't stop, as the song says. But most importantly, did I become a better teacher? That's what I heard a lot about when I was, reading blogs about the process, and when I was, on Twitter and stuff like that. People just said doing the process of, the National Board certification made them a better teacher. But for me, I wanted to see if I was a better teacher. That's kind of like the thing that made me feel a little strange. I felt like I was kind of going like, the school of fish is going this way, and I was that purple fish going this way. But that was just kind of where I was at. Basically, I saw it as a challenge to submit my components and see what NBPTS had to say. I should say that component 1 was strong for me. It was my highest score. But component 2 and 3 dropped just enough to where I had to step up my game a little bit for component 4 in order to not fool around. But looking back at my units that my instructional units that I used for component 2 and 3, those were things that I was doing previously, but I remixed them just enough for the national board process, where now they've really become exemplary units. These are units that kind of my go-to units when I'm working with a mentee, when I'm like mentoring a teacher as like a learning support coordinator, or if I have a new teacher I'm working with or somebody like that. Those are units I might use to kind of show, hey, this is what we could be doing with our students in the resource class. And in the end, I think component 4 too really helped out a lot. It kind of helped push me as a professional, because I had to, this is 2015, things, it doesn't seem that long ago, but with Google, it was a lot of things were new. So I had to meet with the tech coach, and we went over how to use Google Forms and basically Google Forms to give assessments to the students, and then put that into spreadsheets and graphs and kind of use all that information. And I had to step it up to do that. I really wanted to show the national board I was kind of doing my thing. And I've carried over those skills since then. Like, for example, I do this progress monitoring stuff with the students with accommodations. I kind of want to see where they're at with their accommodations over time. And I use the Google form, and then I look at the data, and then I track that data over the school year. So yeah, things like that have really pushed me. It started with the component 4, and then it's carried over to my practice. Also, I would say that just kind of having the validation of getting certified has really helped me out, just in the day-to-day. When I got it, I was a department head, and then later on I became the learning support coordinator at the school in Bali. And you work with a lot of teachers, a lot of grade levels, a lot of admin, a lot of professionals, a lot of parents and whatnot. And previously I felt confident, but having that outside validation, I think it's not something I really thought about like in the day-to-day, but I just feel like it's the difference between like your mom saying, hey, you look good, or you've been working out, whereas your friend that's like a professional trainer saying, hey, you've been working out. It's like there's different levels of how good you're doing. So having the NBPTS say, hey, you've been working out professionally, is it just kind of helped me out on the day-to-day. And then also, you got to think, like, we spend so much time on the components, like thinking about what you're saying, editing, writing, doing all that, and that really hones your craft too. It's kind of like blogging. Whenever I do a blog post, it takes a lot of hours of research and rereading and editing and doing all that stuff, and I feel that blogging makes me a better teacher. And the same thing goes with the NBPTS. Just the fact that you're reflecting on your stuff and reflecting on your craft, that makes you a better teacher, in my opinion, or it made me a better teacher. And then lastly, the MOC, the maintenance of certification, the kind of the recertification process. I'm about to start that next month. And September, a couple weeks, next week. And it's gonna be a good process. I already went to a webinar about it, and it's basically kind of how have you developed as an educator since you got your certification, and how has that helped impact your students? It's kind of like one of those things where a lot of times, for myself in particular, I'll go to a PD, and then at the PD, I'm at lunch with people, or I'm in the sessions, I'm all engaged and I'm pumped up, And I come back ready to go, and I'm talking to people at our department meetings, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. And then people aren't always interested, or you get busy and you kind of drop off an initiative, and then things slide. But the MOC process, they're like, hey, what have you done to become a better teacher, and how can you show that it's affecting your kids? Write about it, and you can still be an NBCT. And so that's kind of it's kind of a cool challenge this year. So either I'm going to be able to reflect on what I've been doing the last 3 years and see how just kind of show the national board, like, hey, this is what I've done. My students are affected. Or I'm going to look back and be like, oh, I got to step it up. And then this year I can do a lot more. So it's going to be a good year this year doing the MOC. Hopefully it's not too stressful. I think they said it's not as stressful as the the original certification. So we'll see. So was it worth it? Yes. Do I have any regrets about doing the whole process? No. Yeah, I'm happy I went through the process. It was tough, and maybe I've kind of elucidated in this discussion or whatever. Some of the gains or some of the benefits aren't always so clear at this point. But that's also because I've been out of the country for a while. So I guess now that I'm back, I think things are going to really pick up. So, if I give like a video in 2 years saying, hey, man, it's been 5 years, I'm sure I'm going to be able to say, hey, I've been able to help a lot of people. I've been able to really network and get influenced by other NBCTs in my community, and, got a 5% pay bump. I was able to buy a better bus pass. I don't have a car right now, so what am I gonna do with my money? Invest it? Maybe I have my 403B. Yeah, we should talk about that. So I guess in summary, I would just say that I'm looking forward, honestly, to the remuneration, kind of getting paid a little bit more and getting compensated for just kind of, recognition of my craft and, what I'm doing. My craft, I feel, I don't know what I'm thinking when I say that, but I'm just doing my thing, and it's nice to get. It's kind of like merit pay. A lot of people think it's not fair to get merit pay, and there's a lot of reasons why that's true. But here we've earned certain, this certain certification, and it's cool that we're going to get recognized. But obviously, more importantly, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to affect more change and to be a bigger part of my school community and my district, and help more teachers and help more kids, because that's what I'm all about. Not to get too deep, but I had my own struggles when I was a student, and that's what led me to be a special educator. I could have done a couple different things. I was looking at doing a few different options, and I was like, I'm doing this, and I want to help as many people as I can, and I think that the NBCT is going to help do that. And to be honest, just at a basic level, I'm proud to say I'm a national board certified teacher, exceptional needs. In a field where a lot of teachers, special educators, they stop after 2-3 years. A lot of them start as interns, like I did. I was a university intern when I started, and then I got my credential, and then I got my master's, and then I did the national board. And for me, I'm really happy to. And for me, I'm really happy to just be able to not say, but show people that I care about this profession, a special education profession, this career path I've chose, I'm sticking with. I'm not doing it because, I lost my job in industry. I'm not doing it because I wasn't sure what to do, and my friend said, hey, you got a BA, you can be a special educator. I'm doing it because I love it, I got a passion for it, and I feel like that NBCT situation kind of shows people, okay, this guy is in it for the long run, he's serious about it, and it makes me proud. That's, yeah. So the next up for me is, I guess maybe an EDD, admin credential, PhD, if it's fully funded. I'm not coming out of pocket for a PhD. doing the MOC this year, and I'm probably gonna get a special ed related tattoo somewhere around here. If you got any suggestions, throw them in the comments. Holla.